Hey guys! So today's video is one that is very highly requested, and that is my dread extension collection video. I'm finally gonna go through and show you my whole collection, every single dread set that I have. I've kept all of them, and there are quite a few. I'll go over where I got them, how many they are, the length, the style, and how much they were. But before we dive into all that, I did want to go over one question that I do get pretty often, which is how I store them. So this is my dread collection, all laid out. As you can see, I keep almost all of them in the long plastic bags that the loose Neapolitan synthetic hair comes in, that the dread makers use to make the extensions. If I don't keep them in the Neapolitan bags, I do keep them in either a plastic bag or a soft cloth bag. I like to keep them in bags because it's an easy way to organize them while protecting them from dust and dirt. And I prefer the plastic bags because you can clearly see them. And then I like the long Neapolitan bags because they fit very nicely. So then, where do I keep all of them? It's varied in the past, but it's either been in a box, a set of drawers, or currently I'm storing them on a shelf in a closet. Alright, so now on to the fun stuff, which is looking at every single dread extension set that I have. I am going to go in chronological order of when I wore them. I do have a couple sets that I've never worn, so I will show those at the end. And I'd also like to say that all of the information that I'm about to give will be written out in the description as well, along with links to the makers if I have them. And so, first up, we have my very first set of dreads that I ever wore. These are from Curlylocs. I bought them pre-made off of Etsy. There are 24 double-ended crochet-style synthetic dreads. They are 18 inches long, and I paid 50 British pounds. This is what they look like out of the bag. They actually did change color a tiny bit, but that's okay. But here they are. And then here is a clip of me wearing them. So if you remember this very first video that I ever did for synthetic dreads, this is the set that I wore. If you also remember, or if you paid attention very closely just in that clip, I also included these 5 double-ended smooth synths dreads that I bought off of a secondhand buy-sell group on Facebook. I do not know the maker, and I paid 15 British pounds for them. This is what they look like out of the bag, and they are 20 to 23 inches long. So those last 5 double-ended dreads I bought from somebody off of a Facebook buy-sell group. In the same purchase from the same person, I also bought this set. So again, the maker is unknown, but there are 16 double-ended dreads in the smooth synth style. They are 15 to 16 inches long, and I paid 15 pounds for them. So technically I bought these 2 accent sets from the same person, maker unknown, for a total of 30 British pounds. So I just kind of considered to be 15 pounds each for what I paid. And so this is what they look like out of the bag. And if you remember, this is what they look like in. So I had worn that black to white transitional set with the next set that I'm going to talk to you about, which is this Halloween themed set. I bought these from Tyto Dreads. There are 15 double-ended crochet synth extensions. They are 14 to 16 inches long, and I paid $70 US. So this is what they look like out of the bag. And these weren't pre-made, but they're not quite a full custom. Tyto Dreads had done a Halloween offer where you would tell her the base color that you wanted, and I chose this dark brown. You would tell her the style that you wanted, we did crochet, and the length that you wanted. I did 14 to 16 inches. And of course it would be Halloween themed, but Tyto would pick the colors, pick the blends, make it, and then it would be a surprise. So now we have moved to November 2015. I hadn't been giving the dates before, but I think I might start doing that. And so that is when I had this set, which is from Teacups Tentacles. There are 26 double-ended dreads that are in a wrapped wool style. They are around 15 inches, and I paid 62 British pounds. This is what they look like out of the bag. And this is what they looked like installed. The next set is this one, which was my very first set from Sammii Synthetics. It also happened to be my very first custom set. There are 26 double-ended dreads done in Sammii's Bumpy twisted crochet style, along with a few braids that you can see in here. They are 15 to 17 inches long, and I paid $170 US. And this is what they look like out of the bag. And I wasn't really going to talk about this in the video. I didn't want it to be too long, but I often get asked what my favorite set is, and this is one of them. It is really hard for me to pick a favorite out of all of my sets. I love all of them so much, but this one has just stayed strong through the years as one of my favorites, which makes sense because it was my first custom set. So, you know, it was the first set that like I helped design based off of exactly what I wanted at the time. And so this is what it looks like in. This was the very first time that I installed this set, and I actually don't have any video footage of the second time that I installed it. But I do have footage of the time that I installed half of this set and half of the black and white set that you guys saw previously, and that looked like this. So after I wore that blue Sammii synthetic set for the first time, I got this set. And so this one is a pretty popular one with you guys. And this one is the first one to have a name. So this is my princess hair, or the princess set. It's from Nuclear Butterfly. There are 42 double-ended, slightly textured wool dreads. They are 21 to 27 inches long, and I paid $234.95. Yes. And this is what they look like out of the bag. They are my longest dreads for sure. And one fun fact that I give, I'm not trying to give too much information here or else this video will get way too long, but a fun fact is that when I first got these dreads, they were a little bit more textured than this, but they've straightened out as I've worn and washed them over the years. So if you can tell a difference between these two clips, let me know, because this is how they looked the first time that I wore them. And then this is how they looked the second time that I wore them. Can you spot a difference in the texture? I had a couple other people ask me if it was the same set, and it is. So now we're moving on towards early spring of 2016, where I got this custom set from Filthy Synthetic Dreads. There are 30 double-ended crochet synthetic extensions that are 18 to 19 inches long. And this was my first trade set, which means that Filthy Synthetics made these for me custom in exchange for doing some videos about them. And then this set has another first tied to it because this was the first set named by a subscriber, which then started the trend of me having you guys name all of the different hairstyles that I do. And so this one was called Toxic Mermaid. And so this is what they look like out of the bag. And this is what they look like freshly installed. Next up, I have this custom set from Teacups Dreads. There are 39 double-ended wool dreads, but I actually did end up braiding 3 of them into their own braid, as I'll show in a second. So there are 36 double-ended dreads and 1 double-ended braid. They are 15 to 17 inches long, and this one was also originally supposed to be a trade set, but I ended up paying $100 US for it. What happened was we were going to work together for 3 trade sets, but since that's a lot for one dread maker to do for one trade, we decided that I would pay for materials for all of them. We decided that $30 would cover it for each of the sets, and so we rounded up to $100 and I paid that. So that's my little fun fact for this set specifically, that while it was supposed to be a trade set where I would only pay materials cost, I paid materials cost for 3 sets, but then we only ended up doing the 1, so then it's not a trade set, and I kind of just paid full price, I think. But the reason why I don't like to just say that this was $100 full price is just because I'm not sure if that is exactly what Teacups Dreads' price would have been at the time. I hope that all made sense. Like I said, I'm trying not to give too much extra information for all of these, but I felt that that was kind of important to include, to kind of disclaimer the price there, just for like full disclosure, I guess. But this is what they look like out of the bag. And here is the braid that I had mentioned. So I did this myself. I wrapped up 3 of them just for fun to make a little accent braid. And this is what that set looks like in, and these were named Starburst Sunset. And so after that is when I installed the mix and match dreads, but you guys have already seen those, so we are going to jump to October of 2016 when I had this set in. So this set I bought secondhand from a friend, so I do not know who made them. There are 20 double-ended smooth synth extensions. They are 17 to 22 inches long, and I paid roughly $5 for them. So So what happened was I bought a few different sets for my friend for a total of $20, which was a steal of a deal. The only thing is that they were all secondhand, they needed to be washed, and they needed to be resealed. So these didn't come to me looking like this, I resealed them myself, but they were still extremely discounted, which I am very thankful to my friend for doing that. So this is what they look like out of the bag, and I did just want to point out this accent here with the purple and the pink. I love it. It's only on a couple of them, but it's still like my favorite part of that set. And this is what they look like installed. And so if you can notice in there, there is an extra little accent set. And that extra little accent set is this one right here. And this bag is the only bag that I have two sets in one. This was a pre-made accent set that I bought from Dreadlock Madness. There are 8 double-ended extensions in the crochet style, but additionally some fishtail braids, as you can see here. They are 18 inches long, and I paid $50 US for them. And Dreadlock Madness had actually named these Purple Rain when he listed them on Etsy, and so I kept that name when I installed them with the pink and purple set. And so that brings us to the end of October 2016, to my second custom set from Sammii Synthetics. This is by far the #1 most popular set among you guys. This is my Pure Gore set. This, I would also have to say, is probably one of my favorite sets, definitely in the top 3. But there are 26 double-ended Bumpy Twisted Crochet synthetic dreads. And I don't think I mentioned this before, but the Bumpy Twisted Crochet style is specific to Sammii Synthetics. That's what she's named this texture of dreads that I have in this set and my first set from her, and so I decided to include it for accuracy. So these are 15 to 18 inches long, and they cost $128.75. And so this is what they look like out of the bag, and I will say that I have gotten a lot of requests to put these in again, and I am planning on it. I do not have plans to go white with my hair again, so I will leave it up to your imagination what color you think that I will have my hair to install this Pure Gore set back into. And of course, if you guys remember, this is what they look like installed. And Pure Gore was the set that I had installed for the longest. It was nearly 8 weeks that I kept that set in. So we are brought to January 2017, which is when I had this set from Anemone Cold Synthetic Dreads. I bought it pre-made. There are 25 double-ended smooth synths here. They are 20 inches long, and I paid €70. And this is what they look like out of the bag. And this is what they look like installed. And as you can see in this clip, I am also wearing this accent set from Unworn Designs. Again, these were bought pre-made. There are 8 double-ended dreads, and they are of a mixed texture. They are 17 to 22 inches long, and they cost me $47.85. And then this is what they look like out of the bag. And then because this set had pink and brown and blonde, kind of like strawberry, chocolate, and vanilla, I named it Neapolitan. So next, we are in the spring of 2017 when I wore my custom set from LS7, which is called Cyber Slime. There are 28 double-ended dreads in LS7's smooth wrap style. They are 15 to 17 inches long and cost $231. And this is what they look like out of the bag. Lots and lots of different blues and greens, blends, and actually some sparkly fiber in there if you can see it. And then this is what they look like installed. Next up, we have this set from Dread Candy. There are 30 double-ended textured wool dreads that are 13 to 15 inches long, and this cost me 70 British pounds. And so this is what they look like out of the bag. And as you saw, they were kind of folded up to be in the plastic bag, so they are slightly bent, but that'll straighten out if I ever want to wear them again. And then this is what they look like installed. And then these ones were named Unicorn Vomit by a subscriber. Next up, we're not done, we still have a few more to go. So I hope you guys are still hanging in there with me. We're not done yet. And the next one we're gonna look at is this one from summer 2017. This was another one of the sets that I bought off of my friend secondhand that I mentioned previously in the video, so I do not know who made them. There are 26 double-ended dreads in the smooth synth style that are between 15 and 25 inches long. And then if you remember, I paid $20 in total for about 4 sets for my friend, and so I consider these to have cost me $5. And then this is what they look like out of the bag, and then this is what they look like installed, and they were called Cotton Candy Twist. So now we are brought to October 2017 when I installed this set from Tyto Dreads. It was a custom set. There are 40 double-ended synthetic dreads, and they are in the smooth texture. They are 13 to 15 inches long, and this was a trade set. And this is what they look like out of the bag. They were named Fairy Floss by you guys, but I like to call them my Fairy Floss Locks. And then this is what they look like installed. So we are down to the last set that I have worn. I do have a couple after that I will show you, but this one is a custom set from Teacups and Tentacles. There are 29 double-ended crochet synthetic dreads. They are 18 to 20 inches long, and I paid 99 British pounds. But this is what the set looks like out of the bag. Like I said earlier in the video, it is very hard for me to pick favorites, but this one is a top contender. And this is what they look like installed. And I did actually end up wearing this set 3 times in a row, but I only have footage of 2 of them. So lastly, that brings me to these 2 sets that I have. These were the other 2 sets that I bought for my friend secondhand. So the first one of these is actually an A-line set, which means that there are a bunch of different sections and a bunch of different lengths that I have sectioned off. Like I said, I've never worn these, I haven't washed them since buying them, and I haven't resealed them, which I would probably want to do if I ever did install them. I don't know who made them, but they are in the smooth synth style. They are synthetic. I do not know how many they are, and I don't know the length on these, but I would guess they're like 6 inches to probably, I think this one, it might be like 18 inches long. So yeah, it's a very, very wide variety of super short to medium to really long. So that's one of the sets that I have, but I've never worn. And this is the other one. And again, with this one, I do not know who made them, but they are synthetic and they are made in the smooth texture. I do not know how many they are, but they are probably about 20 inches long. And that's it! This is the final one! We're done! We made it! We made it through! That is all of my dread sets that I own, all of the information that I have on them, and how they looked out of the bags and how they looked installed. And lastly, I thought it would be fun for you guys, not for me, if we totaled up all that I've spent on my extensions over the years. Let's do it. First, let me just say that I have been collecting dreads behind my extensions since August of 2015. So just keep that in mind, that I've been spending this much over the course of almost 3 years. It's still probably not going to excuse it at all, but what can I say? I would also like to put in a disclaimer that doing the hair videos that I do is my job. So every time I buy a new dread set that I think you guys are gonna like, that I think is gonna be fun to do, it is a little bit of an investment. It's kind of like a business expense, but it is still money that I'm spending, and it is still something that's kind of technically a luxury item, but also a collector's item. Anyway, so first I'm gonna give 3 separate totals because I've been giving 3 separate currencies. I will convert it all to US dollars in a second, but first I will say that I've spent a total of 311 Great British Pounds, 70 euros, and a whopping $1,052.55 US cents. Fuck. Like I said, it's been over the course of 3 years, but there it is. And so using today's currency conversions, which is not going to be accurate to what I actually paid. So keeping in mind the fact that the euro right now is valued higher than the dollar than it used to be, and I honestly don't really know where the pound is at compared to where it used to be, but I'm just saying that what I'm about to say is not an exact number for what I exactly for sure paid, what came out of my bank account every time. But if you were to convert all of those currencies just to US dollars, today, right now, as I'm filming it, it would be $1,558.96. So I hope it makes sense what I'm saying, that that isn't exactly what I paid, because that isn't the correct currency conversions at the time of each payment. So what I mean is, almost 3 years ago, when I bought my very first dread set for 50 British pounds, it would not have been the same currency conversion rate, because that changes over time. If I really wanted to, I could look back into my bank statements to see that actual dollar number, or I could look up what the currency conversion rate was that day that I made the purchase. But honestly, that's a lot of work that I don't really want to do right now, so I'm not gonna. So there you have it. I have over $1,000 US worth of dread extensions. And technically, since I did get some dread sets as part of a trade, that isn't the full value of my dread collection. I have calculated it before, and if I were to replace every single set that I showed you, including the secondhand ones, if I would have to re-buy everything brand new, it would push closer to $2,200. Okay, so that's it. That is my dread collection. That is what everything looks like, the specifications, what everything looked like installed, the ones that I did install, and then roughly what I paid and roughly what it's all worth. This was so much fun for me to do for you guys. I honestly had been putting it off for a really long time, just because whenever people would request it, I would either have a set like in the mail to me that I'd want to include, or I'd like have my dread extensions in and I'd want to show that off too. So I wanted to do this when I didn't have any extensions in so we could look at all of them. So I finally did it, and honestly this was a really good time for me to do it because I haven't had extensions in since about March, and I'm over it. I do love my dread extensions. Obviously, I collect them a little bit. I have a little bit of a bad habit when it comes to spending money on them, but I love them. I love them. I think that they're gorgeous. Like I said at the start of the video, all of the information that I said, it will all be in the description, along with all of my social media links, like my Instagram, my Twitter, and my Facebook. Feel free to subscribe if you're not already. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!